So, unpopular opinion, and this is going to stem from decades of drag racing research and builds and history. But the manual Subarus don't pull as hard as the autos, and I'm about to tell you why. Alright, so everybody wants a manual to off-road in, and I get it. But the manuals off-roading historically, Jeep-wise, Broncos, trucks, KTMs, it's because you had a crawler gear to give you that extra pulling power. Well, you don't have that in your run-of-the-mill Outbacks, Bajas, Impreza, whatever. So if you're in sand or you're trying to crawl up hills or this or that, or rocks, you're basically just burning the clutch up to try to maximize your torque output. Now, that might not be as necessary with an STI or a Turbo Forester or whatever, where your gearing makes up for some of that and your turbo gives you the torque you need. But a torque converter is a multiplier. It's a torque multiplier. I.e. converts. It's a gear reduction. Like, depending on your stall speed. So if your engine is spinning at, say 2,000 RPM, where you don't have a lot of horsepower, but you're trying to leave in a big pile of sand and you're bogging the motor, or you would be rather, your output shaft may not be turning but at that speed. So what you could theoretically say is you're doubling your torque by halving your output speed. Just like a bicycle with the different sprockets. It literally changes the gear ratio before it ever even gets to the wheels. So that's why I prefer the auto. As long as you have the extra transmission fluid cooling capacity, which a trans cooler is like $60 to $80. You can set it up, run it through the radiator as a pre-cooler, and then go through an external as a secondary, and even cool it down even further. And that's easy. Plus, fluid's easier to change than a clutch or remachining the flywheel because you made hot spots. Now, as far as the Subaru torque vector, I'm not going to speak on the new one with all these different modes, but the older ones, say a 99 to 05 or 06, 7, something like that. The manuals had the viscous coupling, but that's a viscous coupling with the clutch discs, not a very positive lock, right? But give me a Baja with an auto trans and LSD rear end, it gets better mileage, okay? Now, the torque split may prefer the front, right? However, that can be so easily modified with either a toggle switch or, more preferably, a potentiometer dial that you could mount on the dash. Now, the way that thing works is it uses voltage to open the solenoid to allow fluid pressure from the transmission, from the engine running to, or at least my understanding of it, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, But basically, the voltage varies going to that solenoid, and my understanding of it is it uses the fluid pressure to disengage and engage the center diff clutch. You can actually override it at that final wire going into the center diff with a potentiometer or toggle. But the reason I say I don't want a toggle is I would want it to vary. And on these new vehicles, that's basically what they're doing, but they're doing it in presets for different, situations and whatnot. And then added, of course, braking control to your left and right torque vectoring, same as the front and rear. So, what I want to probably do from here out is get another auto and run a potentiometer. That way I can vary it, and depending on my situation on the trails, I can have it still allow some speed differential for turn in and control, but as the situation gets more questionable and hairy, I can dial it in a little bit tighter until oh God, it's bad, we're going in a straight line and we don't want to get stuck. I can lock that baby in full 50-50 and it be positively engaged. And you can do that. It's really simple. Plus, like I said, I've had better luck. Same drivetrain, same engine, weight, whatever, but manual versus auto. All the autos that I've had, not turbos now, would outpull the manuals that I've had, not turbo, any day of the week. And it's because of that torque multiplication. Your horsepower is good, but it picks up later. And the thing is, if you get in a bind, you're not going to be able to get it to rev to build horsepower without slipping that clutch. Whereas, and end up burning the clutch up depending on how far you have to go through it. It's either bog the engine down or slip the clutch. It's not really not a good choice in my book. But with the autos, it will keep the engine revved to a degree enough to keep on trucking through and not stall, and get you stuck worse. And I've towed a 5,300 pound 4x4 F-150 5.4 liter quad cab 15 miles home with my 2.5 Impreza automatic with 40AT with no turbo. And I really don't feel like this Baja would do it. Just signature wheel. So, yeah, I'm just apples to apples, man. So that's my take on it. It's easy to modify it to make it full-on four-wheel drive. This truck, this manual, it does not lock in, period, and there's nothing you can do. It's a viscous coupling. It's good for controlling snow and all, but at the end of the day, it's not four-wheel drive as far as you can make an auto fully locked in. So take that how you want.